Hey everybody, good evening. Welcome to the December 17th meeting of the Wilmington School Committee. Thank you for your patience. We're getting going just a minute late. First item on our agenda, please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Moving along, I would like to introduce our student representative, Jackson Kiley, to introduce the Wilmington High School Student Report. Jackson.
Hi, so tonight we only have one member for you all, so I'd like to introduce junior Megan Smith, who will be delivering the report tonight.
Hello.
Good evening, Megan. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. As Jackson said, it's lovely to see you all again. I'm Megan, and the Wildcats did great last week at the DECA District 4 competition. Several of our Wilmington High School students earned exceptional scores showing their business skills and professionalism. In total, 44 students have qualified for the Massachusetts DECA Career Development Conference. Special thanks to the parents, teachers, and staff members of Wilmington High School that showed support for DECA's club. This year, the Lowell Suns Golf Coach of the Year was won by WHS's very own Mr. Maloney. Congrats to him, our amazing history teacher, for his astounding accomplishment. Many activities have been happening during Flex this week, from card making with the Peer Mentor program, providing help and check-ins to the freshmen that just came up, and to service learning activities such as presentations with comfort dogs and police canines. For Wilmington Athletics, the Sons of Italy wrestling tournament is coming up next Sunday, December 20th at 8:30. Tickets will be sold at GoFans, and boys varsity's hockey season passes are now on sale, with passes also being sold on GoFans. December was a huge concert season month for the arts, and with fantastic performances held by the jazz band, concert band, and orchestra. And those are the latest updates.
Thank you, Megan. Questions, comments from the committee? Wow, it's a quiet group tonight. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for
Appreciate
having
you
me.
being here.
Thanks, Megan.
Of course.
All right, up next, we are happy to have our athletic director, Mr. Dennis Ingram, and some special guests to talk about fall sports review. Mr. Ingram, good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us.
All right, here. Okay, so what we're going to talk about tonight, first and foremost, I wanted to thank the administrative team at Wilmington High School. I'm sure you all know Mr. Gendron, Mr. Staffier, and Mr. Miranda are fantastic to deal with, and they're great supporters of athletic events and everything that we do. So I just wanted to make sure that we thank them. And secondly, I'd like to thank everybody involved with athletics. There's a lot of people to thank. There's a lot of people involved. It's not one person by any means. Leah Shea, Stacy Benoit, Tom Nye, Nick Sullivan, who was our intern this year, who was a former Wilmington High School student, all of our coaches, all of our game staff. You can see right here that we've gone 4 months from August 17th to Thanksgiving for the fall season. There was over 262 games, thousands of practices. Thank you to everyone for contributing for another successful season. It flies by with a blink of an eye, but another great season. So what we're going to talk about tonight is we do have some friends here. We have our athletic photo group, we have our cheer Middlesex League champions, we have our girls soccer Middlesex League champions, and then we'll go through our team recaps for you all. First off, I wanted to promote, we have our student athletes of the month from the athletic department. For the fall, we had Caitlin LaPointe with cross country, Cam Gray with football. In October, we had Kate McDonald for girls soccer and Derek Peralt for golf. And in November, we had Erin Murray and Luke Cushing for football. Right now, I'll call down our first friends, Connor, Caitlin, and Dennis. We have kind of created, I know when I left off with you guys last year, we had Shavam, who everyone knows, who did such a fantastic job in kind of transitioning in starting this photography at athletic events. So now we have our three friends here who have kind of taken this on, and we've started our own group. We have been in contact with Mr. Fiante, who runs the photo club, and we're talking about how appropriately we could be like a subset of his group or not, but we are talking about that, and he's been very helpful for that. But we wanted to kind of bring these guys on to let you know, we have a group now, I think there's like 22 kids in our Google Classroom, taking pictures at games, helping us out so much. Here's just some of their work, whether it's game posters, action shots, or even being in the Boston Globe. They have made my life so much easier, and they're such great kids, and they're so great to deal with. We wanted to bring them on and kind of show you guys what's going on with that. And it's also good to know that in this group, we have some kids who are student athletes and some kids who are not student athletes. So like we talk about like athletics in the umbrella of it touching all of the students. This is just kind of another example of us reaching out into the whole building. So we love to have them. We're very proud of them and where it's going. So I don't know if you guys had any questions for them. I promise them no hard questions, just so you know.
Questions?
Just a comment.
yeah, please.
Photos look amazing. So really hard to get those action shots. So they look great. I don't know who took them or not. Okay. And I really like the Wildcats, the football graphic on there.
I think that first row is Connor. Yep.
Yeah, that looks pretty good too.
So, which sport is the hardest one to get an action shot of? Or all of them?
You can go.
I feel like the sports with the biggest fields, so
Yeah.
for me, it's usually baseball.
Yep.
Because you can only get like the bases, you can't get the outfielders.
Yep.
So it's tough because you're gonna move around a lot.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
I shot golf this fall season. I thought golf was really tricky.
Yeah.
Because you only get like one, like you get 4 shots each hole,
Yeah.
and you kind of don't want to like just follow one person.
Yeah.
I thought that was one of the trickiest.
Good. Cool. Thank you.
For me, it's probably track,
Yeah.
because if you blink, you miss a runner. If there's 3 people per
Yeah.
heat and you miss one, like, especially the 55 dash,
Yeah.
it goes by so quick, so it's really easy to miss.
Cool. Thank you. It's great work.
So these guys are fantastic, and Wildcat Media is kind of what we've kind of called our group, and these are our 3 student leaders from it. They're actually rocking some Wildcat Media logo hoodies to represent. So we just want to say thank you guys for all you do.
We've got
All right.
maybe 2 more. Mr. Axdale?
Sure. One comment, which is that I just want to say this is really hard to do, and you don't know it unless you've ever tried to do it. And I have been the parent out on next to the soccer field with my telephoto lens, way too many games trying to get good shots, and it is just unbelievably hard to get your focus locked and catch the moment just right and not be blocked by other athletes on the field. It is really hard to do this well, and so it's more impressive than it seems. They make it look easy, and it's not easy at all. I had a question, which is, what's your favorite shutter speed?
No hard questions.
Love it.
Most sports, I go 1/1000th of a second.
Yeah, I would 1,000th, 1/800. Usually, like you don't get any like motion blur or anything like that, and it's not too dark.
Yeah, probably right around there.
Thank you. Dr. Grayson?
Well, one, it's nice to put the faces to the names, because I see you all over Instagram and everybody shares all your stuff, and I'm always like, who are those kids? So it's nice to finally meet you in person and to thank you officially from all of us for all the work you're doing in your spare time. Do you coordinate with one another about who's going where, and how, I guess, what does that look like behind the scenes?
That's a great question. And some of it comes into our Google Classroom. We have a spreadsheet with all of our home events, how many people we would like to have cover it, depending on the size of the event. With the football game, with the band, the cheer, the community, and the game, we have more people there. So we organize it on a spreadsheet, and it's gone pretty well. And I don't know if there is if we ever have something that's not covered and we really want it to get covered, I just reach out to one of these 3, and they're like, don't worry, we'll take care of it. So, they've helped out tremendously.
It really feels like we have an inside view into what's going on, even if we're not at those particular games. So thank you very, very much. We are appreciative, and it's sort of this homegrown, like really organically created group, which I think is a very cool story, because I don't think a lot of high schools have something like that. So once again, thanks for letting Wilmington kind of stand out and shine. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Excellent.
I have two, if I could. I don't want to keep you guys longer than you need to be here, but are you guys using your own equipment? Or if, say, there was a student who wanted to do this, but maybe doesn't have access to a camera, is that something that the school provides, can provide? Is it something we can look at? Like, this is, we've seen this grow, and I'd love to see it continue to, but I don't want it to be limited to folks who have access to
I think
equipment.
Mr. Fiante is very, very generous with helping. And I should say again, so he's a photography teacher and he runs the photography club. We're talking about how we can integrate and kind of collaborate, both of them. So he'll let kids take cameras out and use them with like a small training, I believe.
And all of the teams seem to have their own Instagrams now. Do we have a Wildcat Media Instagram where all of these are
We do.
shameless plug?
And it's been organized. These three have kind of taken it and organized. And actually, we meet maybe once a month during flex period. And I just got to say, the last time we met, Connor was talking about analytics and when to post to get the most views. And I was just sitting there like, oh my goodness, this is such great information that I never would have even thought about. But these guys go above and beyond, and they're so into it, and it's such a great product. So we're so thankful to have them.
So what's the Instagram page?
Wildcat Media.
Perfect.
There you go. It's great. The only issue is that if I ever take a photo of a game or an event on my iPhone, the kids kill me about, oh, Mr. Ingram, nice iPhone. So that's the only issue, but it's all good.
Great. Other questions, comments?
All right, guys, thank you
Thank
so
you guys
much.
very
You all
much.
survived
Great
it.
job.
Great job.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
Thank you.
To kind of transition before our next guest, I just kind of wanted to throw this up. I was recently at a district meeting, and one of the presenters was talking about his school and how proud he was of a 45% athletic participation rate. And that got me to thinking, like, I think that we're much better than that. So just to show you where we've gone, we've always had very good athletic participation, but this past fall we were at 54%, which is just unbelievable. And it's something that we're very, very, very proud of. Just wanted to share that with you. And next, our senior captains can come on down. Tonight we have joining us Erin Murray, Lily King, and Maya Lanzi.
Welcome.
Hi.
So all three of these girls are members of last winter's state championship team as well. This fall, they were the Middlesex League champs. The Middlesex League event takes place at Woburn High School, and they name a small school champ and a large school champ. But just so everybody knows, there's a thing called the Grand Champion. Wilmington was the Grand Champion. They had the overall highest score out of anyone in the league. People were actually leaving the competition being like, Wilmington. To see that, it's just, it's very, very satisfying. The head coach of the team is Kylie Valerio. They were the Middlesex League champs again. When they went to the States at Worcester State, they came in third. All-stars for our season were Lillian French, Lillian McLaughlin, and Erin Murray.
Great.
Any questions for the girls? All three are actually in the winter season right now on the cheer team too.
All right. Dr. McCauley.
All right, so I have a question. I don't know anything about cheerleading. What separates a team like Wilmington from the rest of the other teams?
I would say our team is very connected, so all of us are friends on the team. I think that's something that you don't see all the time. So.
Yeah, seems like a good answer. You gotta be very coordinated together, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, trust each other.
I think they do a very good mix of typical cheer, almost some gymnastics stunts involved. So there's like a great mix. And if you ever get a chance to get out and see the girls perform, you will not be disappointed. It is so entertaining. They do such a great job.
Nice.
Great. Mr. Agso.
I'm curious if you did anything different this year from last year. I mean, I assume it's not just the same, some things you're going to always do because there are certain standard things, but I'm curious just what the experience was like, or if you were working on different, trickier or harder, routines. I'm curious what what your experience was compared year over year.
I can say it. So we did lifts this summer, and that's something that we haven't been doing in the past. We also had a level up camp where we had a 2-day camp, and I think it was about 8 hours each day. So that was all preseason, so we definitely did a lot more before we started our season to prepare ourselves. And then obviously that led to us having harder stuff in our routine.
So is it similar to kind of sports that have like degree of difficulty with the different tricks and flips you do?
Yes.
The camp that the girls went to, one of the comments that they got back to their coach was, Wilmington seems like they are physically in shape like a collegiate team. The amount of time they spend working out. So that was a pretty great compliment. And I believe it was in the regionals this year. Did we have a fall? But because of the degree of difficulty in their routine, they still qualified for states. So that speaks just volumes to the girls and the team.
Can I ask, I know a lot of times when you see sort of continued success with these teams, it's because, or at least in part because, right, you lose a few seniors, but the core kind of remains. Have we gotten to that point yet? Is it fairly balanced, I guess, between the age groups, right? Are we going to lose 10 seniors and then?
We lose 6 seniors this year.
At the end of this year or coming into this year?
At the end of this
6
year.
of you are graduating
Yes.
this year.
Coming into this year, we only lost 1.
Okay.
Got
So, all right, interesting. So win them all now, right?
Win them all now. And these girls will probably be back when we do our winter review to talk about another state championship, right?
Well, I think we made you guys promise another
think
state
they did
championship.
promise
You were
that.
here last year,
that's very
so
true.
we would expect nothing less.
I just
Of course you can.
So thank you for all your hard work behind the scenes. Obviously, for Friday nights, we all love watching kind of you are the main show out there, right? And so it's exciting for us watching those football games. So thank you for all of that. And these continued championships, obviously, from our perspective, really do make Wilmington kind of stand out. And so I imagine there's lots of kids out there who watch this and say, "Ooh, I want to go there." And so seriously, a deep thank you to you for helping us shine, and hopefully you'll be back to continue to grow that core and to help us kind of continue on what you've started. But this has been it's been exciting to watch this grow over the last few years. So thank you for the part you've played in that. And we'll miss you very much when you graduate. It'll be weird, get used to new set, but thank you.
You make us very proud.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, girls, good job.
Continued good
Thank
luck.
you.
Thank you.
Yes, good luck.
All right, and our final guests of the evening will be our girls soccer Middlesex League champs. Just like the cheer team, this is their second year winning the league
Nice.
in a row. Tonight we have with us our senior captains, Kate McDonald, Erin McCarthy, and Allison McGillicott. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Welcome.
Head coach of this season was Alvia Banez. The regular season record was 11-3-4. Like I said, they were the Middlesex League champs. And when they went into the state tournament, they were ranked 12th in the power ranking. In the state tournament, in the round of 32, they beat Situate 2-0. They beat East Bridgewater 3-0, and then they eventually lost at Pope Francis, which was quite the bus ride, 4-1. For our All-Stars, Kate McDonald is an All-Star, All-Conference, and an Eastern Mass All-Star, which is greatly impressive. Erin McCarthy was an All-Star. Avery King was an All-Star. Kelly LaMarche was an All-Star. Allie McGillicott was an All-Star. And Nyla Chamonda was an All-Star. So a very successful team, a very successful program, and we're happy to have the girls here to kind of talk about it a little bit.
Mr. Golden, our resident soccer expert.
Yeah, well, I'm a big fan. I'm sorry I haven't caught enough of the games, but what kind of formation were you guys playing, and what is your favorite part of playing soccer?
What formation were we? We were a 4-3-3.
Nice, classic.
Yeah, we switched it around a little bit, but I think we ended with 4-3-3. It kind of just gave us like a balance of, like, there was enough people in each spot and we could all fill the gaps. So so that kind of helped with our success.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. That's awesome.
Thank you, Mr. Golden. Others, Dr. McCaldy.
No question, but I did attend the Situate game, which was awesome. You girls played really great. I brought my soccer-crazy 5th grade daughter with me, and she was impressed by your gameplay. So high compliments from the 5th graders.
There you go.
I just want to say congratulations. You guys have had a lot of good success. I think you'll have more success next year, hopefully, too. And keep up the great work. Yeah.
Great job.
Mr. Agstill.
I was hoping you could each tell us what position you play, and then what particular game of the season was the highlight for you.
Kate, we'll start with you.
Okay, I was a forward. I didn't really have like a particular favorite game, but I think that the playoff games were definitely my favorites. Obviously not the Pope Francis one, but the first two just really gave us, like, the team a lot of confidence, and it was, like, a really good feeling to win and keep moving on. 'Cause that was the furthest we've ever made it, so probably those games.
I play defense, and my favorite game was probably the Melrose game because that was my first game back because I was injured beforehand. So it was nice to be able to get back on the field.
I was also a forward along with Kate. Last year I was a midfielder, and like in the past I was a midfielder, so it was a change. But I think my favorite game was the East Bridgewater game because we just blew them out.
Dr. Bryson.
So thank you. And I'm just curious, what do you attribute most of your success to, other than your formation, which I don't actually understand, Mr. Golden, but what do you think sort of made the difference this year to get you to where you wanted to be?
Well, we had a little bit of a change in our coaching staff. We had 2 new assistant coaches, which I think helped uplifted the mood, and then also just like what we did at practice really helped us in the games because they were intense and there was a lot of skills put into it. So definitely the practices were very helpful.
I also feel like our team is like really tightly bonded. Like all of us have been playing with each other since like younger. Like all the seniors, we've been on the same travel team like forever. And there's so many like new like players that are just like so good and like just made the program like so much stronger.
Yeah, I think that we just had a lot of fun. I think every single practice, every single game, no matter the score, I think it was just we just had a lot of fun together.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for all your work on and off the field. And again, I know it's a big deal to you, and it's a huge deal to Wilmington. And I think to have younger kids look at you and to know that this legacy you've left behind as you get ready to graduate, I bet it feels really good right now, but it'll feel really good even when you kind of come back and you look back on the program that you kind of really helped to build. So thank you for that, and we wish you lots of good luck. And I'm sure we'll see you doing your other sports this winter and spring. So
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, girls.
Thank you very much.
Next, we had the golf team, as mentioned earlier in the report. The golf head coach is Mike Maloney. He is a Wilmington High School teacher. He did a fantastic job. They finished the regular season 7-6, second in the league, but they won the North Sectional Champ the first time since 2003. So that was quite an honor for them. The captain was Nate Anderson, and they had 4 All-Stars, Isaac Tavares, Roman Sonat, and Derek Peralt, and also Nathan Anderson. Here's a picture of them getting their North Sectional trophy. So that was a great job. Our volleyball team, head coach Molly Pelletier, the regular season they were 0-20 for 6th place in the Middlesex League, 58th in Division III. The captains were Kaylee Quinn and Paola Rodriguez, and Kaylee was also an all-star representative as an outside hitter. Boys cross country, victory chain photo right there. Head coach Joe Patrone, regular season they were 1-4 for 5th in the Middlesex League. They did qualify for the states. Captains were Gavin Dong and David Dinan. All-stars were Gavin Dong and Cooper Hunt. For our girls cross country, also repping the victory chain, Joe Patrone's also the head coach For the girls cross country, they finished the regular season at 3-2. For third place, they also qualified for the states. Captains were Bella Zaya, Charlotte Kiley, and Kaylee Israelson. All stars, Charlotte Kiley and Caitlin LaPointe. Boys soccer, head coach John Bavoda, regular season of 0-15-3 for 57th in D3. The captains were Joe Glazier, John Mayer, and Owen Fitzpatrick, and their all-star representative was Joe Glazier. Our football team, head coach Joe Kavanaugh, the regular season they were 6-4 for second place in the Middlesex League. They ended the season 4th in Division 6 for power rankings. They lost in the playoffs in 3 overtimes, which was a wild game if anyone got to see it, 47-39. It was unbelievable. Their captains were Colin Allard, Gus Lambert, Luke Cushing, Timmy Watson, Noah Matten, and Pat DeLucia. And their all-star representatives were Mark Holleran, Colin Allard, Noah Matten, Gus Lambert, Aiden Bellevue, and Pat DeLucia was all-star and all-conference. Our field hockey team, coached by another Wilmington High School teacher, Leanne Ebert, regular season of 4-9-5 for 4th place. They were 49th in D3 for the power rankings and qualified for the playoffs. They lost at Medfield 6-0. Captains of the team were Grace Johnson, Leah Langone, and Leah Murphy, with their all-star representatives of Emma Allard and Leah Langone. We also had homecoming in the fall, which is sponsored by the athletic department. Here's our homecoming court. Sean O'Brien, Pat DeLucia, Will Poyant, Ryan Gray, Emma Chiricello, Kate McDonald, Emma Callahan, and Charlotte Forcina. And Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving, it might just be a football game to somebody. It is one of the longest days for the athletic department in the whole year. So here's just a couple of pictures of that week and that game, kind of what went on. It was a beautiful day. And one thing that happens during that week that I'd like you guys to know is the football coach brings back some former athletes who played at Wilmington High School to kind of talk to the kids. And one of them, which was great, was a fellow classmate of mine, class of 1999, Mike Giannetti, who's actually the head coach at Merrimack for the Merrimack football team. So seeing these guys come down to talk to the kids, it's really cool. It's really quite an event for them. And then I wanted to share with you this little tidbit here. Teacher's Tribute. So the senior kids on the football team went through the building and presented a teacher with a certificate, almost a thank you for making a difference. So we just wanted to promote that. Maybe a little thing, but it connects athletics to the academic world, and that's, we're trying to do that every single day. And we got a lot of positive feedback. You can see a lot of smiling faces from the teachers who were surprised to get this, and they were grateful to have that situation. And lastly, but not least, we have the Wilmington Wildcat app, which is up to 1,946 downloads, which is unbelievable. Recently at the National Athletic Directors Conference in Tampa Bay, the Snap Mobile group had a booth, and they on their booth for promotion was all Wilmington High School stuff. We were the first in the state to get it. It's kind of catching on now, but it's really great. It makes our life a lot easier. The kids that were here earlier, the Wildcat Media, we have their stuff linked up, schedules linked up. We're getting all new pictures up for the winter season, but rosters are up and schedules are up. And you can get as many or as few notifications as you want. You can shut them off if you get too many. So it's really it's tailored to the audience. So it's done a great job for us. That's all I got. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Ingram.
So if we're on their booth, are we getting a little bit of marketing fees, royalties on that?
Carrie, can I answer that question?
That was a direct quote from Mr. Ingram on one of their
It was a
marketing
direct
materials.
quote. I'm just glad there wasn't a picture of me. I prefer the quote.
Mr. Agsdale. Oh, I thought you had your hand up. I'm sorry.
It was actually me.
My bad. Mr. Golden.
I have a very miscellaneous question, but I am genuinely curious. Where do you guys get the things that the football players run through? Like the big.
Oh yeah.
I was like, where does anyone buy that? The tunnel. Where do you buy the tunnel?
The head coach bought that.
Yeah.
And it's he might kill me for telling you this, but he bought it, And he asked if he could buy it. We said, yeah, you're just going to have to be responsible for setting it up and taking it down. So one night after practice, I had the cameras on the field. Him and his wife were setting it up and taking it down, and you could see that they were having a good conversation about it, just like a husband and wife would, or maybe they had other things to do, and it was taking longer than they thought. But that was all Coach Kavanaugh. He wanted to do that, and he let the Powder Puff girls use it when we had our Powder Puff football game. So it's really cool, and the kids seem to love it.
That's great. Awesome. Thank you.
Anybody else?
I'll just say, can I go?
Of course you can.
I'll just say thank you. So, seriously, athletics we know is a huge part of why students choose to come here. And so we've had these conversations over the years, but really starting to, the work, you can see it's really starting to come together. And so I know it is not an easy job. And I imagine you're always smiling, but I imagine many days are not, are quite difficult. And so we really do appreciate everything you do behind the scenes, and then also keeping such a positive perspective and continuing to think really deeply about how to grow our programs. So thank you for that. We see you and we know all the work that goes on behind the scenes. Well, we actually have no idea what goes on behind the scenes, but I know it's a lot. So thank you. And it was an exciting football season for sure. Yeah.
Very
It's
exciting.
nice to.
Quite the turnaround for that program this year.
Great turnaround.
Exciting.
Great turnaround.
So huge shout out to new coaching staff and everything that people brought to it. It's a whole new feel. So
That's great.
We're
That's
excited.
great to
So
hear.
thank you.
Okay.
That's it.
Thank you, Mr.
Okay,
Randall.
guys.
Yeah.
Have a
Thank
great
you.
Here's
winter
always.
break. Understand that we appreciate all that you guys do. Hopefully you have a nice break with your family and loved ones. Thank you.
You all very much. Thank you. All right. Moving into the consent agenda with no objection, we'll take this ever so slightly out of order and welcome Ms. Julie Kim to talk about a Wilmington High School robotics team donation. Ms. Kim, good evening. Thank you for your patience. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you. Thank you. I brought a student, and we also brought some toys or some props. So I have with me our mechanical lead, Ethan LeConte, and he's going to actually give you the nitty-gritty of why we want you guys to approve this $5,000 anonymous donation. So without further ado, I'm going to let Ethan speak.
All right. So as you can, this is our competitive robot for this year. We're in a league called First Tech Challenge, where every year it's a new game. This year we have to take these pretty largely sized wiffle balls, intake them into our robot, and launch them into a basket that is around 40 or so inches high. And we must do this while there are 4 robots on a 12 by 12 inch, 12 by 12 foot, not inch, that'd be crazy, 12 by 12 foot field. And there's a ton of rules, regulations. I think it's like a 198-page document that I had to read through. And this is the result of probably around 2 months of CADing and just pure building. And it's a lot of material costs. You have wood that we went and bought. I went, I think, to Medford for that. A lot of 3D printed pieces and a lot of parts we order online in massive part orders through a company called GoBuilda. And we make other prototypes as well. This is our launcher right here. This is a prototype we made and 3D printed that has the adjustable hood here. And this was just a proof of concept. We now have a fully functioning hood on this robot that allows it to adjust from 30 degrees to 60 degrees. So if we're shooting from closer up or further back. We also have a prototype drivetrain pod that we use. It's called Swerve Drive. It's essentially a desk chair wheel if it was motorized. We're able to turn the wheel and power it, driving us like that. Very complicated to code as well. We also, this year, for our flywheels, we decided to custom cast our own silicone mold wheels. You take 2-part silicone, it's 2 liquids, you pour it into a mold that I designed and 3D printed, and you get this, a solid flywheel that gives good grip and allows us to launch a ball. We were doing some testing earlier. It's not fully completed yet. Our motor system for the flywheels is not fully done yet, but we are able to score a couple balls into the baskets already. And our first competition is going to be January 10th. So I'm going to finish up doing that bit and then hand it off to software for them to do their thing. if you
So-
want to elaborate on other stuff while I get this
Yeah,
booted.
so do you have any questions? Did you understand everything? 'Cause there will be a quiz. You might have to add
To
something.
be clear, I
20-page
understood
Google
none of that.
I think Ethan's gonna do a little demo.
Yes. So what
I
we
told him
have-
not to shoot you guys with the balls.
Thankfully, this is
We're
not-
going this way, right?
This is not
You need to go
operational, so we will not be.
We would be aiming for Jackson.
It is not, the shooter isn't fully up right now, so I won't do that. But we have this intake here, and everything is run off of this control hub, is what it's called, or driver station. And then we have, on here, we have these, which are basically computers that work. And they communicate, and we have a controller that we use. And I need to assign that controller to something.
Yeah. So while he sets up, I can take any questions or why we have to fundraise so aggressively each season.
Thank you, Mr.
Yeah.
Golden.
Thank you. So I guess I have a thought and a question. So the question first, it's an anonymous donation. Is this person who's anonymous or organization that's anonymous, do they have to somehow sign any kind of form or thing that's like, I'm donating this money and I agree to abide by XYZ rules, or?
No, they just give us a check. So which we love. So anybody else who wants to donate, please do it $4,999 so that we can just take the money. So each year we make a packet. So we have a business team at LEAD, and we have a group of students that literally compile a parts list. Also, each year we estimate how much it's going to cost. And so our estimated cost ranges from anywhere about $5,000 to $12,000, depending on marketing materials, the cost of things, motors. Sometimes they want to custom fabricate bodies, parts of the robot. So that costs exponentially way more than if we were just using like just metal pieces. The aesthetics, also getting all of the components to design each part, and then also some of the proof of concept components are really expensive, and then this is not ready to actually implement. So this is probably for next year. So Ethan's a junior, and we have a bunch of sophomores and freshmen, and so each year our robot gets exponentially more complicated, and that means it's exponentially more expensive. And so we send this out with all the students. We kind of put it out to the universe and to Wilmington, and we say, hey, we also write a ton of grants, and we get funding from Analog each year, so they're one of our sponsors. And so we've been very, very well supported.
Cool.
I'm very thankful, yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, for my comment, I was going to say how I think back to being a junior, and I didn't even know what coding was. So, wow, that's incredibly impressive.
Thank you, Mr. Golden.
All right, so I think Ethan's ready to show you something.
All right.
So on the robot, we have a intake system that it's a singular motor that's able to drive 4 shafts with wheels using a lot of belts and gears. So we're able to press one button, and the front whirls all the way up into here. Where then this is noisy. You have the shooter at the top. It then launches the ball out into the scoring. We have this camera here, which the code team will use this camera. There's little like mini like QR code style things on the towers, and we'll use that to determine our position on the field, and that'll determine the RPMs of the flywheel and the angle of the hood to score
turn it around so that
as
this way can see
optimally as possible. Another fun thing I did was on the back panel, I used the laser cutter and put our logo on the back. Very cool. It's cool. Just because aesthetics as well.
Very cool. Nice touch.
And our drivetrain uses 4 wheels that are on the bottom of the robot. We have these 4 that allow us to move in any direction we want, including strafing side to side like a crab walk, which I will very briefly show. We're able to side backward, forward, and we're even able to, without turning, move side to side.
That's cool.
And the whole turret is powered by motor. We're able to head around 190 degrees of view, so that way we can always be aimed using the camera as well to always track. So if the robot turns, this will stay positioned facing towards the goal.
Very cool.
Can you turn it to the other side so that they can see the intake mechanism?
take is here, and that just spins there, and then takes the ball all the way up into here.
Is there only one hoop, whatever that is? There like you
There's
said
one.
several robots in the same arena, right?
So it'll be 4 robots. It'll be teams of 2. So you're randomly chosen to be with an alliance, and you'll have like 5 matches with 5 random teammates, and it's 2-on-2, and there's 2 baskets, one for each team.
They also have to color code it, so they have color sensors, so that depending on the random order in which the 3 balls are set, they get more points if they can shoot it in the right color order. So like purple, purple, green could be one round, and the next round can be like green, purple, purple, or purple, green, purple. So that's exponentially more complicated. So we have another group of students that are working on the 100 and something penalties and the points and all the scoring guidelines. So. Any other questions? It is like another class or more. Yeah.
Mr. Exo.
So I'm curious, could this robot snow blow my driveway? Seems like it might be able to.
We're close.
Snow and shoot it out the
Next time
top.
it snows, I might have to try it out at my house and see if it works, and then I'll let you know.
I see. I wouldn't mind it sitting in my living room with the control and snow blowing my driveway.
From the
Might be
couch.
onto something there.
Right?
Do you get points for aesthetics?
I wish.
No.
We,
Okay.
Oh, no,
actually,
there's a design award.
You do get, not for the actual games specifically itself, but the way you can advance onto states is by getting, this year, it's now ranking points. And every award, every game you win, everything goes towards ranking points that you get. And you have design awards, innovate awards, inspire awards that are worth certain amounts of points. So aesthetics can actually get you one, incorporating manufacturer style pieces into the robot can get you points and stuff, and it just really helps towards your overall ranking.
Ms. Lord.
This is fantastic. I find it's so fascinating to hear the process you went through too, with the months of design and all that. Because to look at this as what looks to me like a finished product, because I can't tell it's not. But everything that went into get that. So then I just think about you and the other students to be at this point where you're designing like this. Like, what's been your background, and did you start doing this when you were younger?
So we have at the middle school there is a good program as well that I've been doing, I think since 7th grade, that you just were a part of. I started really getting into it last year. We kind of did a lot of just starter kits before and just scrapping together parts. And this year is the first year I fully designed a robot. These wood panels are custom laser cut. Pretty much every major part on here, besides just motors and some small metal gears, are fully custom designed and implemented into the robot. Even some of the pulleys we have on the wheels, the measurements of the belts, everything is fully in computer-aided design is what I do.
Wow.
And it's a lot of fun. I've been woodworking for a while in my garage. My dad got me into that. Just like engineering a lot. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Well, because I think too, because when you're first learning, it's probably trial and error, right, figuring it out. But then to get to the point that you're designing proactively with CAD, I'm sure you must have a lot of experience that's going into.
A lot of time. I did a lot of practice over the summer.
So Ethan also volunteers at the summer enrichment program. So we have a CAD course, we have a robotics class. He also is very humble, but he also spends at least 1 or 2 days a week going down to the middle school. We have about almost, I want to say 70 or 80 students that are part of the middle school robotics team. They build 2 robots, and then our students go down to help CAD, help them with some designs, and also with coding. And so that's beautiful, because then when they get up here, they already know how to do all those things.
Very cool.
Can I ask one more question? How much time do you spend, what's the commitment, the time commitment outside of your school day? On something like this, I can't even, it's almost like, to me, I keep thinking it's like preparing for a marathon almost, it's like this, you're constantly prepping and you're constantly it's just so interesting to me how much time must go behind the scenes to do something like this.
Many hours. A lot of nights. I'd get home, do homework, eat dinner, and then I'd pretty much CAD until I went to bed a lot of nights. It is very heavy. Like, designing an entire robot is a commitment, for sure. It was a lot of CAD. It was a lot of research as well, just going online, whether it be like forums and stuff, like to get advice from other FTC teams and stuff like that, and just doing a lot of research and a lot of just designing. And it was a lot of fun for me. It was a lot of time. That's 100% sure.
Yeah. And this week we had some issues with one of the belts that was ordered. It was the wrong size, off by 4 centimeters, but then what happened is it put them back, and they had to redesign a ton of stuff. And it was on Amazon, so sometimes we ordered it twice and we got the wrong one twice. So then we were like, all right, well, how do we print our own? And so then Ethan and our captain, they kind of brainstormed, pivoted, and then figured it out. So a lot of problem solving, critical thinking, like.
A lot of working on the fly as well. Like, in case the alternative belts didn't work, we were going to 3D print using a flexible material for the belts. And in case that didn't work, last night I fully redesigned the entirety of the shooter to work with the belts we currently had. That was an experience. I'd say definitely the practice has helped. I would say this last time was around like a weekend, and I think I did it in like 7 hours last night.
Sounds like $5,000 won't help at all.
I guess I'd like to, go ahead.
Dr. McCauley.
Yeah, I just had a question. Can you use AI to help you? And if so, do you use it as a tool to help you kind of with the coding and the design stuff? Or do you find it kind of useless and just gives you slop?
For the coding purposes, we found that it makes a lot of mistakes currently. And it's not quite there where you're just trying to use, I think our coders were trying to just like reference ChatGPT a little bit, just like get like an idea of what's going on. And we found that a lot of times it wasn't optimal. And it made a lot of mistakes, and it was just like, it wasn't recognizing, because there's a lot of like differences between standard engineering and then FTC engineering, because it's so specific to certain motors, certain servos, and just like the power usage you use and everything. Because everything's size constrained. You can't be outside of 18 inches cubed for your robot for the entire game. And it's just so specific that I think AI hasn't gotten quite there yet. It's able to reference. I've used it a little bit to like summarize research. So like, instead of going through Reddit forums for about an hour and a half, go through ChatGPT, find, or a lot of times I'll search it and use like the Google generative AI, like it'll give me the sources I need, and then go to the specific sources, because I find that the summary that the AI gives is not always what you want. It's not always accurate, and it gives you the wrong things when it thinks you're asking for something else. But I think in the future, definitely, I've seen a lot of stuff on just 3D printing design, like CAD designing as well, using generative AI to create parts, but they are using references that are man-made as well. So it's implementing it, I think, is going to be an interesting thing. I think it'll be in the future of robotics. No, I don't think it'll be for while I'm here.
All right. No, thanks for the insight.
Mr. Golden.
I was going to move that we approve accepting, or just not approve. I move that we accept the donation of $5,000 from the anonymous donor for the robotics team.
Thank you. That's a made motion. Is there a second? Dr. Bryson. I'm assuming there's no additional discussion. All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Love to have you guys come back after the competition and let us know how you did.
Absolutely.
Good luck.
Happy to be back.
Thank you
very much.
All right, thank you so much.
And of course, if it can throw snow, Mr. Ragsdale, we'll take 2.
We'd like your number for that, so.
Hired this robot.
Yeah, right.
Another way to raise money.
Right.
Rent it out to.
I might have to make a bigger one.
Yeah.
Get it to do some snow blowing.
Thank you again. Congratulations. Good luck.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Great job.
Excuse me. All right, let's take this consent agenda up for the remainder of it. We have approval of minutes, December 3rd, 2025 regular session, and the November 25th, 2025 special session, warrants, grants 21 and 22, revolving 31 through 33, local 48 through 53, food service 30 and 31, circuit breaker 9 and 10, special education 29 through 31, and payroll 12/17/2025. Is there a motion? Mr. Ragsdale, second. Dr. McCauley, all those in favor? Mr. Golden, you look like you have a point.
Yeah, is it too late? I was just gonna, there's an edit that I'd like to make to the special meeting minutes. Is it too late for that? Way too late.
No. Is it something that's like can be done right now, or
It is 2 words.
Please hold.
Let's hear it.
It is, so in there it says that I would change my preference of superintendent candidate. I believe that I said I would not. So
Sorry,
just so
that's
that
a very
then-
good point. Yes, thank you.
So I believe it's just
I think that's
adding the word
It's a
not.
very good edit. Let me.
Just so then, because then he voted no, so it'd go back
Yeah.
in time and be like, this guy's
accurate reflection in the minutes, so that would be acceptable. I would then ask all those in favor of approving the consent agenda as amended by Mr. Golden. And that would be unanimous. All right, thank you very much. Thank you for that, Nick, I appreciate it.
Sorry, real quickly, Nick,
Please.
that was on page.
Oh gosh.
7, 8, 9. Noted that he would.
7.
Yeah, I got it. Thank you. Sorry.
All right,
Just want to make sure I get them in the right spot.
thank you. There is no superintendent's report this evening. Dr. Thompson was unable to join us. Public comment. Hearing none, there was no public comment submitted prior to the meeting. Nobody signed up in advance. That will bring us to the reason we are all here. First and only item of new business, the FY '27 preliminary budget and capital planning presentation. A little different than normal, usually presented by the superintendent. As I said, Dr. Thompson was unable to join us. However, not to be outdone, Director of Administration and Finance, Mr. Kerry Simmons, who is joined by several members of the central office team. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Look forward to it.
It's like the Super Friends.
Justice League.
Yeah.
When you are ready.
We have those
Yes, please.
sweatshirts
Thank
Andrea
you.
gave to us. Yeah.
Good evening,
Custom
Chair,
made for his
Vice
office.
Chair, committee members, and those who are watching virtually. We are pleased to present to the town of Wilmington our preliminary budget for FY '27. We will move in the order of presenting the 5-year capital plan first, and then we'll do the operating budget. Just as the chair stated, the superintendent's not here, so we will do our best to convey the vision as we know it. Should there be any questions that we're unable to answer, we'll take it back to the superintendent, and then he will get back to you according to the best way that he sees fit. Prior to us getting to the operating budget, there are a number of metrics that are shown in different ways, and we will do our best not to be repetitive, and respect your time. So, next slide. Take care of it for me. So the order of the capital plan for FY '27 through '31 will go information and technology, then special education transportation, then other capital projects. So this is our holistic plan, as if we were to see everything at a granular level. Technology, special education vans, auditorium furniture, facilities, and so it's to the tune of $3.9 million over 5 years. So, good evening, Mr. Chair, the rest of the school committee. Thank you for having us again tonight. My name is Angel Cartagena. I'm the Director of Technology for those that doesn't know me or those who are watching from home. So I want to talk about the technology capital plan for the next 5 years here at Wilmington Public School. What you're seeing here in the screen is pretty much the slide that we showed before, but in a like condensed way, like that way we're going to be make it easier for you. So I'm going to start talking about the instructional technology or learning environment. What this fund will create for us and help us is to replace all the student and staff devices. It's the same for the labs and for the classroom technology. When we're talking about student devices, we're talking about iPad, Chromebooks devices. We're talking about Dectos devices in the labs. We're talking about staff laptops, as well for the admin assistant laptops or desktop devices as well. This will help us to create a modernized instructional space. We updated presentation system at the same time for the STEAM equipment. So what this is gonna help us is to avoid large failures, right? Disruption in classroom. We want the teacher and the student to focus on the lesson, not in the troubleshooting, in the why is not the computer is not working today, why the computer is having another issue to connect to the screen. So that's the point we want to avoid, creating this plan in 5 years, to start creating these process where we can replace all these devices that are in the end of the life. At the same time, we're talking about safety, security, and communication. In this part, we're talking about the upgrade security cameras, access control system, PA system, and the security servers. As of right now, we have all-the-way camera from like really old to brand new. And one of our goals is to keep everything consistent, everything the same way into the whole district. At this point, we don't want to get caught up in where we want to look at footage from the outside building or inside the building. At some point, that show up, and we cannot differentiate with a hand or it's a foot or it's a face because the camera is so old that it don't allow us to check that. And that's why we would like to update this camera system. The same way for the control access point and the PA system. As of right now, as you know, we have buildings here that are more than 30 years old and have those type of system in there. It came to the point where, like, if someone is going to do a broadcast, we want to make sure that in the classroom we can hear clearly. We want to make sure that in the hallway that broadcast is hear clear as well, because this could be a life-saving type of things. The security server, because all the servers that we have where we allocate all these footage as well, is pretty old, and we need more space. We need something that could be supported and we could be patched, and that's why we are requesting this. At the same time, this will allow a district right to enhancement all this safety, communication, and system reliability around the place. Now we're talking about infrastructure and operational system. One of the things we would love to do is implement electronic document management, and this is something that probably the teacher and the student will not see, but it's the backbone of the building. As of right now, we have a lot of documentation, as you know. This documentation, because we're at school, we have to keep it for a long time. A few of them for the lifetime. We cannot just go and trash them. And as right now, we're talking about this document that's really important. It's just sitting in boxes around the buildings, around the offices. This as well can create a hazard for it because it's a potential initiation for fire. Let's say that if we have a water break, this document can get break, it can get lost. This electronic document management will help us to control that, to have everything accessible to the tips or our fingers. At the same way, it will help with the floor flow if we need to work around the buildings. This will ensure that the central district system stays secure, accessible, and support for all the operation around the building. All these costs that we have here, it will be the total that we have in the top for $1.91 million.
Thank you. So next up is our special education transportation fleet. Over the course of the next 5 years, we expect it to cost the town about $550,000. FY27 and fiscal year 27, 2 standard minivans will be replaced at $250,000 in FY28. Updating and replacing one of our ADA compliance wheelchair accessible vans at $95,000 in FY29. There is nothing, it's a year off which is helpful to the town and to the district. And in 3031, another wheelchair accessible and minivan, which will cost $205,000. Now, the purpose of replacing vehicles is just to make sure that the district is fully functional. The town is on a cycle where it replaces vehicles every 10 years. If you don't replace the vehicles, just like a normal vehicle, like a car, repairs get way more expensive, and then the reliability also decreases. And so then we start having hangups of kids not getting to school on time. We lose the opportunity to be up to date with the most advanced technology at that point in time
for our vans and ADA compliance. And lastly, also what I didn't know, but now I do know, is that that wheelchair accessible minivans actually, because of the amount of work that they're doing, lowering, stopping way more than a normal vehicle, they actually, they come to a place where their reliability decreases a lot faster. So it's important that we stay on the trajectory that the town has asked us to do, which is replacing our vans every 10 years. And what they typically like to do is sell it where it has resale value during that 10th year so that it can be reinvested into the next fleet. Yes.
So now talking again, the other capital project that we have, I want to talk about the learning environment. This go back now directly to the classroom. This is a project that it will take 5 years to accomplish. You can see F27, we start with classroom furniture and whiteboards. The same with the security upgrades. They will go all the way from rocks, chairs, cubby, tables, whiteboards, and then we're going to be doing it in phases. So that's why you will keep seeing the same amount in different years. For 28, we're adding the middle school auditorium sound. One of the things that happened when this building was done, the equipment that was put there, it was 20th century equipment. Of course, the company that provided that for us is no longer running anymore, so it's difficult for us to replace it. The only way that maybe we can do it, it will be just putting patches or Band-Aid to the system, but then it will not work, still will not work properly because it's an old system. The same for the high school and middle school lighting. What this is targeting here is to replace all the light that is already out of compliance in our buildings, and moving more to something like LED or something more modern that will help the lighting in these type of rooms. And again, you will see that again, the furniture and whiteboards, and because all these projects per year, it will help us to at least do from 9 to 10 classrooms per year. That's why you will see allocated in different years in the screen. Then in 29, we're gonna do the phase 2 of those lighting. Again, as you see in the 30th and 31st, again, going back to furniture and whiteboards.
That is our presentation of the capital budget. Did you want to do it all in one or take capital separate from operating?
Let's do capital questions, and then we can move into operating budget. Thank you. Questions on the capital budget plan? Mr. X.
Can you talk a little bit about how the capital budget intersects with the timing for the new elementary school? Because obviously a lot of the furnishing and technology in the building is captured in the budget for the project, but on the other hand, we may still have equipment that is still usable. I'm just wondering, like, especially, of course, for the equipment that Wildwood and North and Woburn Street students are using, how are we kind of like thinking about when that transition happens into the new building in the fall of 28?
You want to answer from the technology side?
Sure. So from the technology point, what we're doing, when you get all the documentation, like the actual budget, you will notice that as soon the building is all done and running, that amount, it decreased, taking apart all those buildings. So those buildings will not be covered anymore during that part. I don't know if I'm answering your question, making sense.
And also in terms of just like things like tables, well, not tables because I'm sure that's in the new place, but typically what we try to do is look at a fleet of Chromebooks. If they're servicing 3 different schools and you have a smaller or a larger population, you just transfer it over to the new school. We're not set, according to everything that I know, to replace everything or to buy everything new. If we can decrease the cost by bringing over functional equipment, that's what we're set to do.
Thank you, Mr. Isdale. Other questions? Dr. McCauley.
Yeah, just thank you for putting this together. Just one question. I know you still have to meet with the town and the superintendent.
Yes.
When you come back, with that information. It'd be helpful for us to see what the town wants to do for capital improvements for the schools too, because I know it's divided between the school district responsible for kind of like equipment, but then when it comes to the building, the town's kind of responsible for that. So I think that'll be good for us to kind of take a look at and see what the town's thinking of.
No problem.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, hearing nothing else. Thank you.
Right. Yes, sir. Was it just this one here? This one?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so here is the operating budget for FY '27. The guidelines, how we put together the budget, we're trying to make sure that the district has appropriate funding for services and programs deemed essential to the students within the least restrictive environment, support for continual implementation of subject-related curriculum and instruction, and maintain our contractual responsibilities, including class sizes. So what we have here is our total allotment for FY '27 in terms of what we believe we need to provide a level service to the district. Last year, the school district was approved for $51.4 million. We believe this year we need $54.7 million. So the proposed increase is $3.2 million, which is a 6.31% increase. Now, dissimilar to the capital budget, whereby we were able to trunk it out over 5 years, this year, from last year to this year, it's ballooned. So what you would like to do typically maybe is not balloon salaries, but this year it's ballooned. So of that 6.31% increase, 4.29% is just contractual obligations. It was the teachers, the ed assistants, the nurses. I'm missing one. Okay,
Admin assistants.
in admin assistants, thank you so much. So we had 4 contracts come into play, and as well as we have the transportation contracts, which is at 0.29%. So in total, that's 5.34% of that 6.31 is just, it's automatic, we have to do this. So within this budget, we don't have a lot of wiggle room to do a lot of pilot programs, but we are taking care of the essential whatness, which is to make sure that our students have teachers in front of us and those who take care of their education from a teacher's standpoint. So our non-salary increase from year to year, from FY '26 to '27, is 7.52%. Most of that is in special education tuition, which Christine Murray will speak about in a few minutes. And then we also have what I call, again, it's a balloon year, curriculum and curriculum supplies. What we were able to do is to offload some of our contractual services, and Christine will speak about that as well, but we were able to supplement and bring in-house our occupational therapists, thank you, and our certified occupational therapist assistants, and so that we have greater control over over our need for our students. So a few school committee meetings ago, we went over enrollment, but just for those who may not have been involved or who may not have seen the presentation, our enrollment now is steady. It started off, we had a dip in years 2016 and 17 down through the pandemic, but since then our enrollment's been steady at about between 2,800 and 2,850 students. Earlier on during the pandemic, we had most of our disruption was in pre-K through third grade, but since then we've been pretty steady. post-pandemic to receive about 90% of our students from pre-K up through 8th grade. There's been a dip from 8th grade through 9th grade, but that's on the uprise. So we're retaining about 70% of our students going from 8th to 9th. That change typically happens as kids go to private schools or parochial schools or a, pardon me, vocational school. Thank you so much. Sorry for the brain freeze. So for the most part, we're able to plan a little bit differently because our enrollment has been pretty steady. And it allows us to focus on the curriculum side. This is our enrollment for this year, which is FY26. As of October, our number of students is at 2,843 students. So you can see pre-K through 5, we're down 22 students. 6 to 8, we're up 34 students. 9 to 12, we're up 16 students. So in total, we're up 28 students. This is for you.
Sure. So this slide is similar to what you have seen in prior years, but it's interesting to take a look at this data. This is really about our multilingual learners in the district, and we have currently, we've had a steady increase in enrollment from, this chart will show you from 2021 through 25-26. The number of English learners in 2020 was 28, and the number of ELs in 2025 is up to 75. So we've had significant growth in this area. So in the first row, you can see the WPS students with a home language other than or in addition to English. The second row is Wilmington's active English learners, K through 12. I should point out, we've gone from 28 to 66, but this data is not including the 9 pre-K students that we have already identified. And then Wilmington Public School students who are former English learners as well, you can see those numbers continue to grow. And that's important to note because once they meet the status of being former and not a current, we are still supporting those students and consulting with their teachers and making sure they're continuing to make success, to be successful. So this first chart definitely really highlights the growth that we have felt over the last several years. The next slide will highlight for you the languages spoken by 186 Wilmington students. This is an increase from 167 students last year. So, and those highlighted in yellow are the languages that families have requested translation and interpretation services in those specific languages. So that has been continuing to grow, and you'll see a request in the budget as we move along for additional support related to the ESL department. I'll pass that down to
another driver, obviously, of the special education piece of the budget. I'll briefly provide an overview of our sub-separate programming in district. So currently we're operating 9 specialized and intensive programs throughout the district, which allows our students to receive education in district residing with their peers. If you look at the chart over on the right, it has the programs listed with a brief description. So if team members recommend programming for students, we have our STRIDES program that serves students with autism that require intensive level of programming. Our social emotional programming serves students identified with emotional disabilities. And our language-based classroom serves students whose team recommended that they require this programming for identified as a specific learning disability in reading, writing, written language. Our life skills programming serves students with intellectual, neurological, or medical needs that require some significant modification to the curriculum. And then we have our postgraduate program, which serves students to really provide that experiential and educational opportunities to build on some life skills out in the community. I want to recognize over, in the next column is the number of classrooms and schools where the programs are located. So currently we have 9 Strides programming housed at the Wildwood, Shawshene, Woburn Street, West Middle School and High School. Social emotional programming in the district, we have 8 classrooms district-wide, Shawshene, Woburn Street, North, West Middle School and High School. Language-based, there is a typo here. There is 8 programs district-wide. We did reduce programming at Woburn Street last year. So we have Shawshene, the North, West Middle School and High School. Our life skills programs, we have 2 classrooms in the middle school and high school, and our postgraduate is housed here at the high school. So the last column got at the bottom cut off here, but we have a total of 28 special education teachers that lead these programs with 53 educational assistants district-wide, so it really shows the support that these programs need from our staffing, but it is serving 144 students currently in the district. So really, this is a lot of work that goes into the budget planning with our leadership team, our central office leadership team, but primarily our building principals, our support staff speak up about what they need. So we continuously monitor student program needs, and we do our best to really adjust accordingly each year to both reduce programming and also expand programming as required based on needs. The ability to staff and support these more intensive programs obviously is a little bit more challenging with the multiple schools that we have, so we are looking forward to the new building that will really help create some nice opportunities for our students in programming. So the following pages reflect kind of the proposed recommendations for the FY27 budget in the area of special education. We are looking to add an elementary Strides classroom. So given the projected enrollment of students matriculating up from the Wildwood, we plan to open a 4th elementary Strides classroom to be housed at the Woburn Street. Last year, that was new for us. We did add a classroom at the Woburn Street, so this would be the 2nd classroom housed there. The Shawshene also houses the elementary Strides programming. So really, I would say the primary driver behind the opening of this 4th classroom is student enrollment. We really require like a low student ratio, and the elementary level numbers continue to grow, especially at the Early Childhood Center. So we're seeing those students coming up at the elementary level. Reallocate our funding budgeted from contracted OT services. So we do have funding in our budget already that we contract out with OT services. So we've already transitioned to more of an internal staffing model, which really will help, rather than seek outside agencies, the long-term effect of having an internal model and hiring our own employees for OT will really provide more efficient service delivery to our staff, for our staff and students. Also adding a speech and language pathologist, a 0.6. We look at these numbers district-wide, really to reduce caseload overload, ensure compliance with service delivery. After looking at the elementary level, we really looked at the caseloads, and they really are above capacity in this area. So completing timely evaluations, maintaining kind of the equitable workloads among SLPs. They really do a nice job as a team to really shift district-wide, but we're noticing, again, at the elementary level, and I think it really pertains to some of the programming as well. A lot of the students require more than 1 times a week service delivery in the programs. They might require more additional services, so it's affecting kind of our speech and language caseloads. This is almost a good thing in a way, we're seeing an increase of inclusion, primarily at the elementary grades. I want to say right now an increase grades 1 to 2 to be more specific. So that's requiring an additional need for instructional support in the classroom. This is for an EA position, a 1.0. We do have special educators and teachers that are servicing our students. They are also responsible for caseload management, evaluations, attending meetings. So this would help support our students in servicing them in the classroom in small group delivery. And lastly, it's another ad we're noticing at our early childhood center and not having programming specifically when students have exhibited some behavioral challenges. They require more intensive interventions that can't adequately be addressed through the classroom alone. So a key function of this role would be the ability to respond immediately to student needs. We do have school counselors, we do have family engagement specialists, we do have BCBAs. This person would be kind of on the ground running a trained professional EA to help support both the Wildwood and Boutwell to provide kind of real-time coaching. De-escalation is essential in the moment with the younger kiddos, so the EA would really be an extra support at the Early Childhood Center. So I have to say all these recommendations were really a group effort. A lot of the staff really provided input on the needs. We had some good conversations with the union and also administration. So I feel like these are really kind of solid recommendations. We did have to tease through some other recommendations that were sent our way and unfortunately not able to meet everyone's request, but these are really the solid requests that we are moving forward in the budget.
So just to recap, in this preliminary budget, the occupational therapist, the certified occupational therapist, the behavioral interventionist, the speech language pathologist, and the ESL teacher are for us to meet our mandated services. Outside of what Christine just spoke to, there are 2 additional positions here in the preliminary budget, and that is the business teacher, which was sidelined last year due to budget constraints, but we have it this year to support the new schedule and rising student course demand, and as well as an athletic trainer. So similar to the occupational therapist and the certified occupational therapist, this would be to bring services in-house. It's a challenge right now to a number of districts to have an athletic trainer. Most places are not contracting them out, one, because they're just not getting what people are willing to pay. And also, with the services not being contracted out, we have to figure out a way to get them in-house. Most athletic trainers need to have a livelihood, so according to the expertise, that we can't hire a 0.5 or a 0.6, we have to have a 1.0 and allow them to service the district. But I guess the benefit, as well as them supporting our athletics, is that they also be on staff for additional help should something happen during gym time. They just have the expertise to step in and be an additional resource. So here are the positions identified for reduction: 1 teacher in elementary, 1 teacher in special education, and 2 education assistants in special education. Then on the opposite side, we have positions recommended to be added. We just went over those positions 2 times, so it is a net 8 positions. Now, I know that may be confusing to some when you see this slide, but what we're showing is budget to budget. So in FY26, there was an approved budget. However, we saw again that our contractual services were going out of business for the occupational therapists and the certified occupational therapists. So we brought them on board before the FY27 budget was approved, and that's the 3.8 positions there. Below you will see the other 4.2 positions, which gets us, we're saying we need 8 positions for FY '27. 3.8, however, are already on the books. As we were trying to be prudent in our decision-making, there were positions that were brought forth, but we actually are not presenting them for the FY '27 budget. That is an assistant athletic director. The cost would be $30,000. Also an ESL teacher. Christine just referred to it. Instead of us hiring one full-time, a 1.0 FTE, we feel like the district can get what it needs from a 0.6 FTE at this point. The behavioral specialist, the Boutwell and the Wildwood each wanted a behavioral specialist. However, given the distance and the need within the district, we felt that we could split them between both schools. So that's why it's 0.5 is not being added at each school. So they will share a behavioral specialist. In summary, again, we are asking the town to give us an additional $2.5 million this year for our needs for the district. Our total staffing costs are forecasted at 6.1%, which are the contractual plus the 8.0 FTEs for FY '27. That's what's driving our staffing. What's driving our non-salary expenses are the out-of-district tuitions, curriculum. It's what I call a balloon year. It's up $200,000 just because we have to renew a number of licenses and get materials. Fortunately, we were able to reduce some of our out-of-district tuition by $200,000, so it kind of offsets, but it's still a cost to the district. And so those are our drivers for our non-salary expenses. As you can see here, our non-salary expenses are typically roughly around $10 million. This year it's at $11 million. Aforementioned, the drivers are out-of-district tuition, curriculum. And you can see it here. Here's a visual. Some people are able to see numbers better than concepts. This is how it nets. You see the drivers by the percentage change. We already went over capital, so we won't repeat that. So in a nutshell, again, our salaries will go up about 6.1%, and our non-salaries will go up about 7.52%. That's a year-to-year change. And the total change between FY '26 and FY '27 is at $3.2 million, and that's 6.31% increase for the district. Lastly, so we will go and we will present once we receive the approval from the school committee. We will go to the town and make a presentation to see if that they will award us what we're asking. We may have to get down to a certain number. If we have to get down to, again, we said we're at 6.3%. If we have to get down to 5.5% or 5.25%, you can see that there is a heavy reduction of $417,000 or $545,000. We're saying that to say within this budget, we have not put a number of curriculum asks, we have not put a number of innovative programs. It is heavily driven by contractual obligations. So we're hoping that we'll be able to get most of what we're asking for because there isn't much wiggle room outside of staffing to be able to provide a level service back to the district. Next steps. Colt, thank you all so much for your active participation. We'll meet with the town manager to go over this budget, pending your approval. Again, he'll tell us if we're in a good place or if we have to reduce or make adjustments. At that point in time, the superintendent will be back in front of you with a recommended budget from the town manager's feedback. January 26th, town manager's budget. He'll give a presentation which will be inclusive of us with the town. February 11th will be the public hearing. February 26th, we'll meet with FinCom, the Finance Committee, and provide them an update. And on May 2nd is the actual town meeting. Thank you all for your time, and we are willing to take any clarifying questions.
Excellent. Great job. Thank you very much to all of you. I know how much work goes into this. I'm sure no one has any questions. Okay, joking aside, who wants to start? Mr. Turner.
So thank you all very, very much. And I wanted to kind of, it's kind of not necessarily a question as much as a clarifying point. With regard to special education, we talk about the words of needs and request. In fact, at the bottom of all of that is legal obligations to the children to provide the education we need to provide to them. And so I wanted to be clear about the words we're using there, that the increases in staffing related to those, and in some cases decreasing as children age out of programs, those are related to what we have to do under the law and what's appropriate and right, but have to do under the law to provide the right education to these children. And so I wanted to be really careful with the wording and the choices there. When a teacher sees a need in a student, that it becomes reflected in our legal obligation to that child. And so I wanted to make sure that we all were on the same page of there's, when we talk about the budget and the total value of what we need to spend to support the students in the district and the limited flexibility, there are places where it's contractual and there are places where it's legal obligation. And so the numbers we have here really do reflect level budget, which sounds odd at 6.3%, but it is effectively a level budget, and it's providing what we need for our students and to support our teachers and staff with our contractual obligations there. So thank you very much for the effort. But I wanted to highlight that piece that some people who are not familiar with it may miss with the words needs and requests. So thank you very much.
You're absolutely correct.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. Further questions, Dr. McCauley?
Yep. Thank you. So thanks for putting together the presentation. It was very, it reads really well, very easy to follow, kind of understood everything. So thank you. I have just 2 questions for right now. First is regarding the proposed special ed positions. I was wondering if you could talk about what's the cost versus insourcing or outsourcing these positions if we need to get, potentially go down that path.
In regards to which position, are you the OT positions or?
I would say probably, could we outsource to like a firm, not have full-time people for some of these special ed positions? Yeah.
So that's what we're trying to avoid with the OT piece that we've moved forward with in that model. As far as, let me go back to. When we're thinking of, so for each position?
Yeah, in general. So is it more expensive for us to outsource and find contractors to fill these roles versus bringing in half FTEs or full FTEs, or is it more expensive to bring it internally? Yeah.
Yeah, so starting with the elementary strides classroom teacher, that would be, you know, an in-program staffing. If we didn't have that program, those students would not be able to be educated in the district, so we really want to have housing and programs in the district to be able to support that, so that would increase our budget if they had to have out-of-district tuitions, just for an example.
Sure.
The other one, the speech and language pathologist, currently, that would be, we look at it every year what the enrollment would be. It is more beneficial to have an in-person, long-time staff member in the position. We do district-wide have speech and language pathologists. We have one contracted personnel that's helping us out with the service delivery because of the situation that we're in currently. So I think long-term the benefit would be to have staff in district for that position, similar to the elementary inclusion EA. When you're talking about contracting with a behavior interventionist, sometimes we do support our staffing through SEAM Collaborative, and they come in and help with different behavioral situations. But this is something we feel that would benefit, as you saw, principals really were advocating for 1.0 in each building. And we've already reduced that to the point 5 in each building, 5.0. So I do see there would be probably a larger dollar sign if we were continuing to consult out with some of these experts or interventionists, I should say.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. So just to kind of clarify, if we did look into doing consultants, contractors, most likely this would be more expensive than if we were doing it internally, right?
Yeah, we've done some review of those
Yeah.
numbers, and it is significantly higher.
Yeah, we were fortunate to have the contracted servicing firm. Previously, they were almost at a discount compared to what we could, the other firms, like once they went out of business and then we went and shopped around, well, we use another firm, the contracted services, and bring them in. It would be at a premium because you're paying for that employee, but you're also paying the benefits to that employer. So us being in town, us not being in town, but us having them on our payroll, we talk with the town about, insurance and what the cost would be to the overall town. But in terms of the school budget, it's actually less to have them on staff than to outsource.
Sure. Okay, that makes sense. And then I think you brought up something interesting I just wanted to clarify. If we don't fund these positions, kids still need services. They will have to go out of district, right? And then those costs are
exacerbated.
Yes. They are significantly higher than us providing the services in district.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Obviously, there's some students that require out of district, and teams recommend that.
Yeah.
So that is something we always want to, see individual needs and what a student can be successful at in district versus out. But our main goal is to build our programming here in district to support our students alongside their peers and really be in an inclusive environment here. Speaking to, and I know you mentioned the tuitions, there wasn't totally a slide on that. Our residential tuitions are down a little bit. Our full day are up, along with our collaboratives, but we have had some movement between our full day to our collaboratives. But I do want to mention the percentage rate that are increased from our full day out of districts have increased. We've for 26% for some of our schools. So this is a large problem that superintendents are facing. So it's a couple schools are 26% increase. So although we're seeing some movement, we're really seeing some of our students that are at these schools, we're paying a really big increase for FY27. So it all kind of evens out with movement, but that really impacts kind of the collaborative school, or the full day schools with 32% increases and 26%. Where collaboratives might be more around like 3 to 6%, yeah.
Yeah, no, quite significant. Thank you. And then my second question is around the capital. So very nice presentation. I like the 5-year plan, trying to spread things out. If we're asked by the town to potentially come back, when we look at the upcoming, to reduce costs, when we look at the upcoming potential capital for next year, what are needs to have versus I wouldn't say nice to haves, because it seems like we need it, but what are the ultimate critical needs that we need next year? And then what are some things that we can defer maybe another year if we have to be creative with the budget?
I think they're all critical and essential needs. And so basically they asked us to prioritize when we submit them the budget. And should we have to move it to an outlying year, we're prepared to do so. But as of right now, it seems as if we're within a threshold of allowability, that we're not beyond, our ask isn't beyond reason. So I would guess, and Angel could always correct me. I mean, like, I see smart boards probably more than I see anything, or it could even be laptops. Are they going to go obsolete this year? Can it stay for another year and get serviced with the right security, with the right updates? So those type of things. But as of right now, I think we're in a position that our capital budget will be approved maybe as received.
Okay, great. Thanks for that clarification.
Thank you, Dr. McCaldy. Other questions, comments? This side, Mr. Golden?
Sure. So, first of all, thank you. It's a lot of hard work. The athletic trainer. So we currently contract with I assume, some business, some person in an office, a shop.
Yes.
Nearby. Could you expand upon that current setup?
I am not familiar with the
Okay,
exact
that's fine.
setup.
That's fine. We had Dennis here earlier. I should've-
Mr. Chance, Nick.
I know, I did. I'm sorry. And secondly, the position reductions, the 4, so we're reducing ed assistants in special ed. I'm assuming that's like we're moving them around the district. Is that a fair?
That is fair.
Okay. Cool. I guess that's my questions.
Thank you. Mr. Exo.
So in the, one of the requests was to add another Strides classroom at the elementary level. That's planned to go at the Woburn Street School. And I believe that was a 3 FTE would basically go along with that classroom. So one, I just wanted to check my assumption that would be a teacher, 1 teacher, and 2 EAs. Okay. And from the slide that you put up about that we have currently 9 Strides classrooms that are servicing 40 students. So, if you took a straight average, it's about 4.5 students per classroom. Does that change at the elementary versus at the upper levels? How many students do we I guess I just more straightforwardly, but how many students do we expect this new Strides classroom to service?
So currently, 8 students would be moving up from the Early Childhood Center. So we also have a classroom at Shawsheen, so we would look at what the team would recommend based on that enrollment to go to the Shawsheen or the Woburn Street. But typically, Strides classrooms have low numbers around that percentage of 4 to 5 students with the educational assistance based on the severe needs that the students have. So it's accurate. That could depend by a classroom or two, but it's about 4 to 5 students.
Okay, and these is just reminding everyone, these are autistic students.
Yes, yes.
Okay. I know that we're a minimum aid district as far as per pupil increase. Do you know roughly what our Chapter 70 aid is for the coming year?
I don't know that off the top of my head, but I will get that to you.
Because I guess it's more about the increase, because it's $150 per pupil increase, I think this year. So that's going to be, I don't know, $400,000 something over the previous year. I'm kind of thinking in my head out loud. I don't know. It's unfortunate that we have 4 new contracts in a single year, because that's driving like a huge amount of the increase here. But we do, and the contract increases. That's what you get when you negotiate new contracts. That people are going to get raises, and they should get raises. But I have concerns about the ask that we're going to be putting in front of the town. Because it's not just a substantially higher number than we've both requested and received in prior years, but it's always worth remembering that we are the largest town department by far. I mean, the school department is, I don't know, a third of the town's budget, I think at least by itself, which is true almost everywhere. This is not in any way unique to Wilmington. That's kind of just how public schools work. But I think that a strong case has been put forward for for the reason that these increases are being requested. And I think that this is something that we need to tell this story when we go in front of the finance committee, when we talk to the town, ultimately when we go to town meeting, that even though the numbers are large, that these are not extravagant asks for what our job is to do. These are generally, as Mr. Turner pointed out, generally things that need to be done in many cases legally, contractually, and this is not a lot of kind of like pie in the sky, just like, oh, well, wouldn't it be great if we just also, asked for just like $1 million for this thing that just kind of sounds cool. This is really just still, despite the size of the numbers, this is still just getting to the core of our obligations as a town to educate our kids. But I do have concerns about about the shock value of the numbers. Going back to the town, looking for a couple $1 million increase year over year is substantial.
I did learn that the 6.3 ask is not an anomaly for the preliminary budget. So whether or not we'll get it, it's not foreign to our need.
Mr. Turner, you wanted to follow up on that? And to that point, the town and the town manager have been very involved, and we're always communicating very well with the town on our budget needs. And so, to your point, Mr. Ragsdale, I don't believe that this is going to be surprising particularly. The one thing I'd be curious about, and I believe this has already happened, is how much are we able to communicate to the town manager and through him to other groups the evolving picture of our budget? Because I think part of what the town has a comfort with the schools is that we are consistent and we're thorough and we're appropriate, highlighting that this is, to your point, because of the nature of the contract, an anomaly is helpful for them, for the looking forward, for the forward years of 2 and 3 years out into the future, to understand where we will land in FY28 and 29. And so I think giving them some level of comfort on this year in the longer term picture, my understanding is that we're doing that, but if to the greatest extent possible, doing that so that there's an understanding of the sustainability of our budgeting process across multiple years, I think is an important part of the process for us with them.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ms. Lloyd.
First of all, thank you so much for all of this work. It's a math person and so many numbers, and so I can imagine the amount of effort that went in, so thank you for that. A couple of questions. One with the athletic trainer. I'm curious how the cost of adding the 1.0 compares to the cost of contracting, like that we're currently paying.
I believe it's a $30,000 difference, if my memory is serving me correct. 75 to bring someone on, and I think we're paying about 40. Is it 45? Thank you.
Okay, so it is a little bit of an
Thank you.
increase, and so that's helpful to know. Second, special education. I'm curious, first of all, it looks like we have programs at, like the same program at multiple schools, and I know some schools, districts will have it in just one, but then it doesn't necessarily allow students to attend their home schools. I'm curious how that works out for the program. And
Yeah, I think, the good thing is we have the programs in districts, so there is that opportunity if the team recommends a program for a student that we do have it in district. It might be across town. For instance, the language-based was reduced last year due to low enrollment. So a student, if that program was recommended on that side of town, they would be recommended to come over to the Shawsheen. We do try to keep our students in their home school as much as possible, but there are opportunities in a good way for us to be able to service students district-wide.
Yeah, great. I think my other just question and sort of comment overall as we talk about these budgets, it really brings together the instructional needs along with the finance. You look at this budget side and you see these numbers, but then when you're in the school with the students, there's the needs and the desire to improve instruction. So I just think about that. I know most of the districts that I work with are short and need more, right? And so I know we're presenting a budget, and I so appreciate that it's well managed, and also knowing that the high needs of the students and all the things we want to be able to offer. and the challenge of doing that. So I think what I'm curious to know a little bit more about, when I think about us making budget decisions, my first thing is, are we able to really provide, the core programming that the students need, especially as other budget asks come up throughout the year, is just the importance of providing those educational needs, and then that might affect other things. So, and then the last few, and this may not be a question that anyone here particularly can answer right now, but the last couple of meetings we've also talked about, our growth plans and school improvement plans. And typically when you're wanting to improve in an area, you need more resources, right? You either need more staff or more training or that. So I'm just thinking about, status quo versus how would we like to grow and improve? What do we want to be able to invest in? And even in special education, if we're wanting to be able to have stronger programs in-house, one of the things I see is the challenge, and first of all, even hiring staff, we need to be able to hire and retain them, that those staff really need to be very well trained in order to do their jobs well. And then they need all the resources to go with it. So I'm just thinking, like, for all of us to consider that as we want to improve the educational program in Wilmington, but then also just if you have if there's any thoughts or, and just the areas that we do want to invest in or improve in if we can, just for us to know and be aware of.
And I think it comes along with like professional development and staffing challenges definitely play a role into this. But I would agree. I think we're working towards many models for instruction, and including co-teaching. We're working with Landmark, so all of that plays a role into programming. So we're always thinking of that as we're creating positions, adding, reducing. So it's constantly something that we're looking at. But we use data to inform our decisions and really looking at kind of following that strategic plan that guides us in our work and what we want to do. Yeah. So we're constantly referring back to that and creating, obviously, supports for our students to succeed. I don't know if you have anything else.
Yeah, I would just add that I think, if we were to draw up the perfect plan of how we could really ensure that our staff were well-trained and supported and able to really provide the highest level of instruction to our students, we'd be looking at a model that included more support for our teachers from the lens of like coaching or curriculum support folks that could go in and model and really provide high level, when we talk about professional development, it is only as effective as, we have a limited amount of time that we can provide professional development. The most effective professional development is that job embedded PD, where there's another adult in the building who is an expert in that area, who goes in and works with the teachers and coaches them and is in the classroom and modeling and all of that. When we have a lot of turnover in particular roles, particularly in some of our programs, it's hard to get, we're trying to build stability there. Having that level of support to really coach, and I think you saw it in our budget request last year, but to really coach some of those teachers, I think is a critical thing. We have at the elementary level, we have two curriculum coordinators, our STEM coordinator and our literacy coordinator, who are working to really provide that support to our teachers K-5 across 6 buildings. So it's 2 people in 6 buildings in 7th grade level or 5th grade levels, 6th grade levels, and understanding those specific programs. And they're not special education trained, well, some are, but that's not their role generally. They're usually focusing on general ed curriculum, but they are really, we're really trying to make sure we're supporting the programming as well for special education with their support. But they're spread really, really thin, and in a district, the amount of students we have at our elementary, in other districts, there are many more of them that are spread out to really provide that level of support. So, when we think about what we might need to really continue to grow and improve our programming, you're not seeing that in this budget at all, because it's not before we get here, we kind of reduce those things that are not, our numbers are already high just to be a level service, really. The percentages are high, and it's uncomfortable to submit that to the town. But that's not, this will be, we will be able to do great things with this, but when we look at our strategic plan and we look at our school improvement plans, and we want to see our scores grow and continue to develop, we continue to work at, just as hard every year, but it's the needs and the challenges become greater, and the staffing that we have is it feels like we're adding 8 staff, but those staff are not to get us ahead. Those staff are to get us caught up. So I think that's just important to note, that we're not in a place where our model is supporting innovation and continued to be like innovative ideas and things. Certainly we are doing a lot of innovative things. You saw the presentation this evening around technology, but and robotics, but as far as really building our skills and our programming across the board, every year we have to work a little bit harder because we need more and the resources aren't always there, so.
Mr. Golden, then Mr. Ragsdale.
Thank you. I just have a quick request. Can you go back one slide, if that's possible? Could we get, perhaps, or could I get?
Yes.
Go back further from FY 22, 21.
Okay,
I don't mean
got
slides. On that top line there, I'd just love to see maybe an additional 5 years back of that kind of year-to-year increase data. That'd be great. Thank you. When you have time.
Thank you, Mr. Golden. Mr. Ragsdale.
I just wanted to, I was thinking more about this, the number of additional FTEs that we're requesting, and again, thinking in terms of how do we communicate this with the town and both the kind of the town manager's office, the town, the FinCom, and so forth. I think that we really want to emphasize, and you got into this a little bit in the presentation, that, for example, the occupational therapist and the certified occupational therapy assistants have already been essentially added into the budget because we've had to put them in last year. And so that not only are they not like really new this year, but I think another thing that's key, and again, it was in there, but as far as connecting the dots really well, that it's also saving us money in a different place in the budget. So previously, I think it was a $200,000 line. Yes. That was that we were spending as contracted services. And so, yes, it's an increase in headcount, but that doesn't mean that it's necessarily the same increase in budget that you might think, because it's just like, we're paying for it somewhere else, and now we're paying for it a different way. And again, there are benefits to having them on our regular staff for doing that. And then similarly. Sorry, I lost my train of thought for a second. There is, I forget, the athletic trainer. So again, another place where it's not just adding a person that cost no money before, and now we have to pay an entire salary where previously there was no salary. We are paying for it in a different way, and it's going to cost more than it was before, but not just the same thing as what you might think from just seeing the numbers. Okay. So I think that I just want to make really, really sure that when we put that, even as the total offset, like we have some reductions, we have some technically new positions, and the net was 8 new FTEs, 8.0 FTEs. But I think we really want to kind of emphasize it's just like, but it's not really just like 8 new positions that are just suddenly weren't being paid for beforehand and have been accounted for, because I think that number might sound a little profligate and needs some clear explanation of kind of where it came from and where the money was being used in other places before that now is available to pay for some of this. So I really just want to make sure that we connect the dots for everyone else who's looking at this budget to understand where that number comes from. And lastly, I just wanted to say thank you to all of you for getting us to this point, and we're not obviously there. We have months to go before we have a finished budget, but these budgets take a lot of work and effort. For us, there's kind of like a budget season, and for some of you, it's always budget season. There's no non-budget season because you're always simultaneously closing out the previous year's budget, operating within the current year, and planning the next year. So you have 3 budgets going on at the same time. And also, of course, from all of our principals and other people in the district who contributed to getting this work here. It's much appreciated.
So, thank you.
Mr. Ragsdale, that number's 12.33 million, Chapter 70.
For Chapter 70? Okay, great. Thank you.
No problem.
Grace.
It's kind of similar to what Mr. Ragsdale's saying. I think that going forward, some of the things that are on my mind that I think you want to really kind of think about as you're presenting this to the next step. I'm questioning what is the capacity for speech and language pathology. I think that's going to be an important piece that people who don't do this work are going to need to know. What is the capacity for OT? What is the capacity for Strides classroom? So David did a little bit of math there to help us it's going to be this, but I think we need to be a lot more clear about why it is so low and what that looks like. I think we need to read out loud the definitions that align with those classrooms. I think that's really important distinctions for people, especially if they are not kind of sitting in schools. Otherwise, it's like, wait, what? Why is it that low? It doesn't make any sense. So I think you really need to be prepared to share that information with the next groups. The athletic trainer, so similar to what you said, Mr. Ragsdale, but I think we also need to explain why having someone full-time is actually a benefit beyond, well, now we don't have to contract. So as a parent of athletes, I'm thinking, this will be proactive injury support. This will be things that we can never provide to our athletes, that it's probably so much more just in the moment fixing things. Like, we have our athletic trainer there to help in an emergency, and they're at some games. They can't be at all games. They have to be at football games. But there's a lot of things that a full-time athletic trainer could provide to our athletes that could not possibly be happening now if we're contracting someone for that. So I think that's a really important message when we're talking about adding this. Otherwise, I don't think, if they go to the math and they're just like, I don't really see why that's a big, though I think we need to tell that story a little bit better. I feel like the stories need to be a little bit more clear. And then to Becky's point, sorry, Miss Lord.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I would appreciate, and I know not for now, but I think as I'm reading this, I'm always aligning it back to the strategic plan. And I think we've just come out of these improvement plans. And so having those strategic goals is, to me, a direct alignment with our budget goals. So I need to see really clearly although this may be thinking about we're just level funding, this is just what we need, we still have to be making improvement toward those strategic goals that we've set. We have to tell people that we are doing that work, especially with, to David's point, a 6.3. I mean, that's a big ask. So we've got to be able to say this is a very clear alignment with our strategic goal number 2.1, and here's how. So I feel like those are some things that I've just kind of on my mind. So I don't have particular answers right now, but I think those are things we want to make sure we're a lot more clear about when we go into those next meetings. And thank you.
To that point, and I know this is a little bit not the way we necessarily typically present this, but I struggle a little bit with the OT piece, in part because that was a question we had clear conversations during the year about bringing those folks into the budget already. And so when we say it's 8, from my perspective, it's 4.2. And I know the way we present the budget from year to year does show the total offset, but I struggle, to your point about what are we doing that's new, what's different, and what is the justification for the 4.2, that's well presented. I would suggest that the logic from a financial perspective of bringing the 3.8 has already been asked and answered. There is clearly what we were paying for contracted services was a particularly low rate. To replace the contracted services was already agreed to come into district because it was going to be so much higher to put it back out to bid. So that piece of it's not new. It's not part of the ask in many ways. I understand why we need to present it this way, but I think that piece in particular, as not part of the current conversation, does help and makes it, yes, we need to justify, we need to explain, but it's half the number. It's not 8.
Yep.
It's 4.2. So I think how we present that piece is pretty important, and I think we do have good support and good partnership with the town manager. So I think that can be a comfortable way to present it as well. Sorry. Thank you.
So I have 2 or 3 what I think are easy, hopefully, questions, but maybe a suggestion. I've heard a lot, I think, about sort of our why, or telling our story, these kinds of things. And I would suggest that perhaps it makes sense as we move into, you know, the final presentation, the meeting with the Finance Committee, that maybe whatever we call it now, the Budget and Facilities Subcommittee can work with Dr. Thompson, Carrie, Mr. Simmons, and the central office folks to sort of, not necessarily develop the presentation, but kind of help tease out some of those whys and those stories. So something to keep in mind. So a couple of very quick questions. I'll start on this slide. Ms. Marty, you may have said this and I missed it, but it looks like there's a decrease in $200,000 of special education contracted services, and I missed what that was.
So that was the reallocation for the OT.
Okay,
Yep.
I thought so,
Yep.
but I just wanted to make sure. Mr. Golden brought this up before, and I didn't catch it, but on slide 21 is the slide where we show positions identified for reduction versus the sort of the new asks. Thank you. There's 1 elementary teacher, a special education teacher, 2 ed assistants. These are positions that we are not backfilling. They are people that are being let go. They're being moved around. It's a combination of all 3. I need help sort of understanding how we're getting to that reduction.
The class size for elementary is a reduction. It's
Yep.
based on the numbers. There's you know, and so we always look at natural attrition if someone's retiring to make that move in that way. If there is a reduction in one building and you know, a need in another building for new section, you know, our staff will rotate between those buildings. So speaking for the elementary positions, that's part of that rationale.
Okay.
And is the special education our programs that are?
This is also a preliminary budget, so things could shift and change based on team recommendations that this may not also occur.
Okay. Thank you. And then I think my last is not even necessarily a question, but more probably of a comment, but it's not the last slide, but it's slide 34, so it's basically the last slide before we get to next steps. I found it super helpful to show sort of if we need to get to this percentage, we need to reduce by this dollar amount. And I know that, you know, we've talked a lot about this is essentially a level funded budget, right? We're talking a lot about contracted services and requirements and things that we have to do, we're obliged to do. And so I recognize that the dollar amounts that we would have to reduce are not inconsequential. They're significant. But I'm wondering if, and I don't want to go into the details, we have had the conversations while developing this that if the town can't support this number and we need to get to something, kind of like Dr. McCaldy said with the capital budget, have we prioritized those things? And if we haven't, I think it's going to be important that we do it sooner rather than later, because while I think if we tell the story the right way, the town has been a good partner and has been supportive, we need to know or start thinking about what we do if not. So
We've begun the conversation.
Okay, good. Thank you. And I would suspect, suggest, whatever the appropriate word is, that the budget subcommittee is involved in those conversations as well.
Yeah, and if I may.
You may.
Part of the challenge with that question is sometimes the answer is if we need to reduce, let's say, staffing by $400,000, the consequence is something on the order of magnitude of 800,000 of additional special education out-of-district placements.
Absolutely.
So if we get asked the question, sometimes the answer is, okay, it's not 6.3, it's 6.6.
Right.
So the part of the challenge with that question, and why you just said you like the slide, I don't like it. Because the consequence of this slide isn't likely to work the way the math would appear, for that reason. Is if you can't provide the services in district, they go out of district, and out of district is always more expensive. And the other side of that is we have obligations for classroom size and things like that, and we run into our contractual obligations. So if we have to reduce this through general education, for example, we may be in breach of our obligations to our unions.
Sure.
And what we want to do for the students. I mean, we have class sizes for educational reasons, fundamentally. So it's an interesting slide for sure.
That's a great point. Thank you. Okay. Any other questions, comments, thoughts? Anything from you guys?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Great job. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
All right.
All right.
We'll see you back soon enough for the next one.
Yes.
Sure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you.
You also. Thank you. I'd say enjoy your few weeks off, but we know you guys will be here anyways. That brings us to, there's no old business, subcommittee reports. Mr. Ragsdale.
There was a school building committee meeting yesterday, and I don't really think there's any particular updates that are super important from that, but just to let people know that that work is continuing, and we get the monthly updates, and designing is happening, and we're thinking more about the interior design of the buildings moving forward.
Great.
And there was a meeting with the butters, so we're also, thinking about ways that we, account and mitigate, issues for the neighbors of the property, and we will continue working on that, all year.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Golden.
If I could just chime in on top of Mr. Ragsdale's point, or in addition to, the January school building committee meeting sounds like it's going to be pretty busy. So if you've been interested in tuning into that, folks at home, the January one, there'll be a lot of substance to learn about reports, data tests, environmental tests, et cetera. So
A teaser for future school committee dates and other notable items. Thank you, Mr. Golden. Anything from this side of the table? All right. Correspondence.
None this evening.
Mr. Turner, if you don't mind, since you're taking minutes, I'll run through this real quick. Future school committee dates and other notable items. Rescheduled to tomorrow night, December 18th, is the Wilmington High School Concert Band, Wilmington High School Honors Jazz Band, and the grade 7th and 8th Concert Band at 7 p.m. here in the Joanne Benton Auditorium. December 22nd through January 2nd, 2026, winter break school vacation. That includes December 24th and 25th, December 31st, and January 1st. Schools and offices will be closed. January 14th, 2026 is our next regular meeting here in this room at 7 p.m. January 19th, schools and offices are closed in observance of Martin Luther King Day. January 20th, 2026, we meet again here. No, excuse me, Mr. Golden, that's the school building committee meeting here in this room at 6:30 p.m. The school committee then meets January 21st for the recommended budget presentation here at 7 p.m. And January 28th, 2026, early dismissal for a district-wide CIT day. Miss Elliott.
I have an addition.
Addition to the calendar, please.
Yes, I'm stepping in for Stephen.
All right.
We have on the same day, on January 28th, which is the early release day, it will be, I think this will be our third annual Family Literacy Night. The theme this year is Happy Readers, Happy Campers, and it will be held, it's for pre-K to 5 students and their families, and it will be held in the middle school cafeteria from 6 p.m. to 7:30. Come dressed in your favorite flannel or camping gear, and it will be all kinds of learning activities, literacy-related learning activities for students to participate in along with their families. Be on the lookout for that information coming in the school principal newsletters in the next week.
Thank you very much. Stephen, how'd we do?
That's all I got.
All right. Well then, with that, I would wish the students, families, and staff a happy, safe, healthy winter break. and would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Mr. Golden, second. Dr. Bryson, all those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you and good evening.